Hello guys, it's Chris, and in today's episode of Sample Market's Producer Tips and Tricks, we're gonna have a look on how to create variations using the simpler, different Ableton effects, and the group function. The sounds that I'm going to use today are coming from the experimental electro sample pack that I had the pleasure to work on. Obviously, you can find the sample pack on the website. So let's dive into the tutorial. As a starting point, I have this loop. So what I would like to do right now is to create some variations into the drum loop, as I think that during the arrangement of the track, this kind of audio results that we are going to create can result really helpful. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm switching into the live view. I'm going to drag and drop the drum loop into a new MIDI channel. Automatically, Ableton creates an instance of simpler. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use the slice function, and then I'm going to use the beat mode. So I'm going to use the gate as well. Okay, so it's divided by beat, which is something that I was looking for. Was exactly what I was looking for. So I'm going to create a very basic pattern. In this case, I'm using the simpler as kind of an MPC. Okay, so how can I create variations? First of all, you can create the variations yourself just by editing the MIDI information on the MIDI roll. You can input simple notes and see how the audio result is sounding to you. And you can create this kind of stutter effects. But also you can actually use the random MIDI effect from Ableton, which can allow you to jump from one octave to the other. So if I do show automation, and then I'm going to use, let's say, the 50% there, 100 here, and then I'm going to extend this into a 4-bar loop, and I'm going to copy this automation. I'm going also to copy the pattern. At the end bit of the loop, they're going to be random MIDI information. So it's going to be very possible that the audio is going to jump from one beat to the other. And this can create a lot of interesting and random results that we can record into audio and then replace into the original drum loop and use them throughout the whole arrangement, which I think could be really, really helpful. So let's hear how it's sounding now. Okay, let's say I want it like this. Okay, that's a way to go. Another way to go is to create a group channel like this, keep the original sounding simpler instance, and then duplicate it and starting to play with the audio file. So the first thing I can do is to reverse it. Then I can use the warping function, then the repitch, for example, stretch it to the maximum. And then just play with the various effects of Ableton or any plugin that is the most to your liking. What it comes to my mind is that we could play with the phaser. Put a phaser here, and then I use a very strict timing with a bit of filter modulation. Okay, then I can use the auto filter. Using the bandpass mode. Then I'm gonna just do another one. But you guys here can use, as said, your favorite plugins, get crazy and see how things are sounding. We can use the vibrato. Actually, I'm curious how this will sound with the vibrato. Not too happy with it. What can I do is use the autobahn as a gate. So I'm going to also, I'm going to duplicate this and I'm going to transpose it by 12 semitones. Let's see with the inverted how it's sounding. Not that interesting. I'm going to open the stereo bit. Okay. Then how can I jump from one instance to the other without having them playing all together? If not, there will be a very messy result. I can do it either with the chain and using an LFO or using the velocity function. Today I'm going to use the velocity function from the MIDI effects of Ableton with this exact setting. So every time a note is pressed in the MIDI roll, a random value of velocity will be generated from 1 to 127, which are the values that you find here as well. So if I select the main drum loop that I want to happen definitely more than the effects one, I can select a great space of the velocity bar here in the group and then leave this section for the effects one. So I'm going just to do right click and distribute ranges equally. So what should be happening now? Also, I failed to mention that usually the simpler as the volume to velocity that you usually should bring to 0, because if not, the velocity value will affect the volume of the simpler, which is something that you don't want. So if I press play now, so what I can do is I can record the audio result of this. So now that I have this audio result that I've generated, I can take the original drum loop. I'm going to reduce a bit the volume because also the recording was not as loud. And what I can do is just going to chop the section even randomly and bring it into the end loop or other parts that you prefer. And I'm just gonna see how it's sounding. I also want to surprise myself. I'm curious how this is going to sound. Really nice. This is something that I really like. After this, you can do a lot of post production, editing, and whatever you prefer. But I think it's really nice to put yourself in the position to have different options and then choose from them. So if I process this drum loop in very different way and I'm gonna have all this audio, then I can go back to them, chop them, and use them into the arrangement. And I think this can result very helpful for different reasons. And so I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial, and be sure to see each other into the next one. Cheers, guys.